The doctor is back in for the Alvin Parker Coaches Show. I'm Sean Robertson. Thank you for joining us on the many platforms, the many social media platforms of Virginia Union Athletics. We got a lot to unpack this week as we talk about the Joe Taylor Bowl that took place last Saturday between Virginia Union and Hampton, and also what the Panthers will do this week, a bye week for the team, an early one as they get ready for Johnson C. Smith next week. But as always, we got the coach, Alvin Parker, joining us here as he is in the building. And we don't talk too much about a loss since we've done this show. About a little over a year now. And this is only the second time we've had a show in which we've talked about a loss.
Yeah, let's try to keep it that way. It was a tough one Saturday. Especially in the game, you felt like you played in a lot of areas good enough to win.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought we played good enough to win in a lot of areas, and the guys did kind of what we asked them to do for the most part. I just didn't think we finished the game like we should have. We led at halftime, we led after the third quarter, took the lead going into the fourth quarter, and again, hats off to Hampton. They played some good ball down the stretch, a little better than we did. But I thought our kids for three quarters played the way we needed them to play and, just didn't finish it out.
What did you like about your team in those middle quarters?
I think, they went in there and they executed the game plan for the most part. I think, when you get, and you go up against a team where you're playing up, D2 versus FCS, you got to play daggone near perfect. So I think they did a good job of following the game plan and kind of sticking to it and not really getting outside of it. So that was one thing that I really liked about the squad. And the other thing is that they just didn't let the moment, get too big for them.
Mm-hmm.
I think, again, when you thrust it into a place like that, sometimes the moment can get too big for you, and I think they didn't let that happen, especially for three quarters. I didn't think they let that happen.
Was that something you talked about with the guys, or was it something like the guys kind of police themselves who've been in that environment before, going to Hampton a couple of years ago? They kind of talked to the guys who were making their first appearance. They're like, okay, this is what we're going to pay attention to. This is what you should expect when you go down to Hampton.
Well, I think it was more of me, but it was definitely some by them, because the guys that was on that last team that went down there were freshmen then, and this was now it's their senior year.
Mm-hmm.
So they got to see it from, being a young guy on the team versus now being, an older guy on the team. So they kind of was able to explain it. But, being in games like this, I thought it had to kind of come from the top on down, so, it was kind of rattled by me all week, and those guys did what we needed them to do.
Now, you mentioned you guys were up 21-12 going into the fourth quarter. I thought the turning point, RJ's play in the fourth quarter, I believe it was an incomplete pass over the middle. Somebody hits his shoulder. He's in pain, leaves the game, and it seemed like all the momentum shifted to Hampton's way. They outscore you 21-0 in that fourth quarter, and they go on to win.
Yeah, at that point, it probably was a big turning point for us, but some of the things, again, like we preach, not just from a point of a quarterback going out, but some of the things that you got to just do well. Offense, you got to convert third downs. Defense, you got to get off the field on third downs. You got to make tackles. You got to make blocks. Those things that are just pretty simple when it comes down to football. Those things that win games, no matter who you're playing. Some of those things just didn't happen down the stretch like they should have. And again, like I said, hats off to Hampton. I don't want to take anything away from them. They did score 21 unanswered on us. And our guys didn't respond the way we needed them to respond down the stretch. But again, it's hard not to praise your ball club to be in a game like that and take that lead into the fourth quarter. I felt like it was a little bit more that myself that I could have did. To kind of willed us to a win and did some things different. But we learn from it and we move on.
Mentioned third downs. They were 10 of 18 on third down. And the other stat, 6 of 6 in the red zone. When they got inside the 20, they were able to punch it in.
Yeah. They made we held them to a couple field goals on some of those, which were pretty good by our defense. They bent a little bit, but they didn't break. But a lot of those third downs came down the stretch. For the most part, I thought our defense played extremely well. But Hampton had a game plan going into it too. Running behind that huge offensive line.
Yeah.
So they had a game plan going into it too, and I thought they stuck to their game plan. Again, our guys didn't back down. They executed the game plan, like I said, for the most part. And then you get down those little things like that, that you can find in the numbers, with those third downs and some things like that, with those red zone opportunities, we just got to play better and do better at it.
Do you think, we always talk about, FCS, they have the more scholarships. They have the deeper roster as opposed to a Division II school. Do you think fatigue at all played a role in that fourth quarter? Because they had, 22 plays in the fourth quarter that they ran. You guys only had 10, had a couple of 3-and-outs, had to put that defense back on the field at that point, and they were able to use bursts again to kind of run that clock down in the fourth quarter.
Well, it's hard not to say it doesn't play a part in it. When you get into those type of games and those type of situations. But I won't ever use it as an excuse. Yeah. It's what it is. But down the stretch, we just got to play better. Mm-hmm. But when you see things start to happen late in the game, you kind of see your guys in a mode and trying to get them out of it. And they played their butts off, like I said, for 3 quarters. You kind of want to find a way to get them out of it as a coach, and not necessarily say it's on some of the things, the outside things that we're kind of looking in. But it's tough not to say that. But again, it won't come out of my mouth that that was a disadvantage for us.
Afterwards, what did you want to see from the guys? As far as maybe not accepting the loss, but just facial expressions, mood of the team. Like, hey, we were there. We're going to learn from it to get ready for conference play. What did you see amongst the guys that said, oh, we're going to turn this page real quick to get ready for Smith?
Well, a lot of them were bothered by the loss, because they felt like, we were in position to win the game, so, and as a coach, you want it to be something that not necessarily affects those guys, but you want it to be something to make them care. And I've seen a lot of guys care. We got a team that's, pretty experienced, like you said, not really used to, taking losses. Yeah. So, in a situation when you lose that, you want to see that those guys are able to rebound, take the coaching that you're going to get from it, learn from some of the mistakes that you made from the game, and use it moving forward. On Sunday, all those guys is right back in there, ready to be coached up. So that's the biggest thing. We all kind of took the loss, and, use it to get better from the coaches on down.
Other superlatives. I mean, we got to mention what Byers did. Another 100-yard plus day. He's getting closer to breaking some records that a guy that you played with has held for a long time here at Virginia Union. He's 12 away from breaking the touchdown record, and he's getting, I think, less than 1,000 yards from breaking Andre Braxton's record. I know you don't like to compare, but you've seen Byers before. You played with Andre Braxton. I mean, can you do a couple of comparisons on how special Byers is and how he is with Andre?
They both were game changers. I think that's the biggest thing that, some of the similarities, and they both can do so much, when you get the ball in their hand. We ran a lot of the offense through him when he played with us, and we run a lot of the offense through Jada. Mm-hmm. Some of the differences are, maybe, Jada probably can do a little bit more as a receiver, but we didn't necessarily use, Braxton as a receiver. We just kind of handed it to him. But that's some of the things that, you probably see that's a bit different. Both of those guys are capable of making people miss. Both of those guys are capable of running people over, and both of those guys are capable of running past people. And I guess that's the recipe, for anybody that's going to put up those type of numbers, so not a whole bunch of difference. Both of them were kind of short in stature, so that you'll probably see. But, I guess that's the flavor, for a guy who's going to have that many yards and that many touchdowns.
Very fortunate to have the opportunity to play with Andre, and I can say Coach Jada and see firsthand how
Absolutely.
special those two backs are and have been for Virginia Union football. We're going to come back after a short break. We're going to have our player lounge segment. We're going to have the 3 players that were recognized by the CIAA as players of the week for their respective positions, to include Jada. So stay with us as the Alvin Parker Coaches Show continues right after this.
The thing about VUU is, it isn't just one thing. It's about the early morning drive, grounded in a legacy of resilience. Nights spent under the gaze of ancestors, forging the future. It's honoring traditions while sparking global change. It's about leading the charge in historical legacy, infused with the wisdom of generations. It's the heart and soul of Black culture and the thrill of winning the football championship. VUU is all this and more. This is VUU. VUU.
We're back here on the Alvin Parker Coaches Show. This is our Players Lounge segment, an opportunity to talk to the guys who put on the jerseys each and every week. And we got three guys that received superlatives from the CIAA this past week from their performance against Hampton on Saturday. We got running back Jada Byers. He was named running back of the week. Shamar Graham, linebacker of the week. And we also got RJ Vick, receiver of the week, who had 132 yards reception. I think that's career high for RJ this past week down in Hampton. Guys, thank you for joining us here on the show.
Appreciate for having me.
Thank you.
I'm gonna start with this. I'm gonna start with Shamar first. I'm gonna get you opportunity, Jada, but I'm gonna start with you first because we talked this offseason. You had some decisions that you were thinking about making, and you decided to come back to Union, be back home. What led to you coming back to Virginia Union?
Well, ultimately led me to coming back was the camaraderie of the team, and like we all been talking about is this run we about to go on. So personally, it was a lot of decisions that weighed on to it. So that was really it. And like I said, just changing histories with my guys.
Mm-hmm. And recognized by the CIAA this offseason as preseason All-CIAA linebacker. I want to get your thoughts about the game on Saturday. I've mentioned the coaches not often in the last year plus that we've had a show talking about a loss. So what was your feeling after the game down in Hampton? Because that was one I know you guys felt you should have taken home.
My personal feelings, and I can speak for a lot of the guys on the team as well, I feel as though that tensions and emotions were everywhere because we lost a game that we wasn't supposed to lose, that we know. But like I told my guys before, we don't really take no losses. It's a lesson in it that's going to lead us to another win throughout the course of the year. So I feel like this was just another building block for us. Mm-hmm. And since we came back to practice Tuesday, it's been like we won. So mm-hmm. That's just how we carry it, and that's just been the culture since I've been here.
Jada, what do you think those lessons that Shamar was talking about, what lessons have been learned about that game?
The lesson that's been learned that game was just we got to finish. That's the biggest lesson, that we couldn't get complacent with each other at halftime, and just got to be who we are and just show everybody that what Union really is about. Mm-hmm. We really just got to come out and finish. That was the biggest lesson of it all.
RJ, you had a big game, not named receiver of the week by the CIAA. How would you describe your performance down there against Hampton?
It was good. I feel like just trying to do whatever the team needs me to do, you know. Everybody was making plays, not just me, Jada was making plays, the O-line blocking for us, getting the quarterback time and stuff. Mm-hmm. I feel like everybody was doing good. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you think changed with, I don't know, fatigue? I would mention that with Coach because they were able to, have a lot of plays in that fourth quarter. But what do you think changed specifically in that fourth quarter for them to turn it around?
I think what changed for them, it was just the momentum. They picked their momentum up, and they just start playing Hampton football because they're not a bad team. They're a well-coached team over there, and I feel as though they was just playing Hampton football and just did what they wanted to do, and just feel as though they said they got to finish. Mm-hmm. And that's what they decided to do. They decided to finish, and we just didn't finish.
Mm-hmm. Sure, you had an opportunity to see Elijah Burris, one of the top backs in the CAA. How was he able to get some spots against you guys on Saturday?
Like I said before, like Coach said before as well, it's just some mistakes that we made. So tips off my hat to him. Great athlete, great competitor. But I feel as though just like with anybody that we face, and just like us as a team, we only gonna beat ourselves. So a lot of the things that we messed up on, like Jada said, not finishing and not capitalizing on those pivotal plays, that definitely played a factor in us taking that L. But like I said, this was all on us, honestly.
Mm-hmm. The other good thing about this is the fact it doesn't hurt you in conference.
Yeah.
It was a non-conference game. All of your goals that you set in the preseason are still there on the table. And RJ, was that something that a lot of the players, a lot of the guys, said amongst themselves, everything is still in front of us as we get ready for conference play next week? Do you want to finish that?
Can you repeat that for me?
Just in regards to the message the guys were saying amongst yourselves after that game, even though, it was a loss, but it was a non-conference loss. It doesn't hurt you when CIAA play starts next week?
Yeah, like we just gotta keep going because we got a lot of season left ahead of us. We just can't think about that loss because that's gonna bring us down more, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So like we just gotta keep our head up and keep going.
Bye week, I guess, comes at a good time. Sometimes, you know, you want it in the middle of the season, near the end. Was this the right time, you know, to heal up some bumps and bruises after Saturday?
It was the perfect time. I feel as though it was the perfect time because not even about healing up the bumps and bruises. I feel as though it's going to get our mind off of the loss that we had. We dwelled on it the day and the day after that, and we got back to the drawing board that Tuesday. Now our focus is on Johnson C. Smith. So we told each other, hey, we still got things to do, and we still going to finish what we got to finish.
Mm-hmm.
It was a tough loss, but we ain't worrying about that no more. We focus on next week, and when the week comes, we just going to show everybody what you ain't about.
Right. What do you guys do on the weekend now, on the bye week? What are you guys going to be doing?
I know a lot of the guys on defense are like just doing the same thing we've been doing, getting in, watching film together as a team, and just as a segment, as a group. So playing the game or schoolwork, of course, but just really bonding, like Jada said, just doing what we've been doing.
Mm-hmm. You guys, will you watch Smith's game on Saturday?
Yes.
Yeah,
My plan
for
was
sure.
to actually probably go with the coaches to the game if they do go, but I don't know if they're going or not. But if not, I'll probably just go home and watch it with the kids and watch football in general.
Kind of like be a fan. You're
Yeah,
gonna get that opportunity often,
Yeah.
so you can kind of watch your opponent, watch some other teams in the CIAA, maybe watch some other national games. Is that what y'all
for sure.
normally do?
Yeah.
For sure.
Speaking about John C. Smith, again, you know, you're going to start the season with 3 straight road games, and I want to get your thoughts as a competitor playing on the road. What are some positives? What are some strengths that you guys have where y'all have been so successful on the road in the last couple of years?
I think us on the road, it gives us more confidence because I feel as though it's like scheduling somebody for your homecoming game. You feel as though like it's a disrespectful thing, but even though we got to play the game regardless, it's just we go in there, people was like, let's go in their house and take their stuff and get out of here with the W. And that's the kind of mindset our team have, kill an ant with a sledgehammer. And that's what we do when we're in our away games.
What do you think?
Like Jada said, same thing. And I also feel as though another thing that plays a pivotal role in that is the fellowship that we have. It gives us time to, you know, get away from like the video games and stuff like that and actually like just enjoy each other. So you can get that sense of I'm not just playing for myself, I'm playing for everybody else, playing for
11, right?
Play
There
for
you go.
11 like everybody. So I feel like that's the main thing that I feel as though that brought us together.
And RJ, real quick, the night game. You know, you've had a couple of day games. Well, the Hampton game was a night game, but another night game down at Johnson Smith. You kind of like that long wait to get ready for the game?
Yes, because it get my mind right, and it just helped me focus. So we got less distractions on the road game, you know. So it just keeps me away from everything.
Well, guys, I appreciate the time. Thank you again for joining us here in the lounge. Congratulations on being named Players of the Week in the CIAA, and good luck to you when conference play begins against Smith next week.
Appreciate
Thank
you
you.
for having me.
Appreciate
All right.
it, Bob.
One more segment to go as the Players Lounge is now closed for this week. We're going to have Coach Parker to come back and talk about the bye week, what the coaches will do as they get ready to prepare for Johnson C. Smith next Saturday. That's still to come as the Alvin Parker Coaches Show continues right after this.
I can't believe he did that. What a play.
I know, right? Hey, look, there he is. It's Bill.
All right, y'all, hop in. Let's get y'all home safely.
Bill, you're a real team player.
Remember, 100% of alcohol-related crashes are preventable when you choose a sober driver and buckle up. So before you leave the stadium,
I have one question for you. What's your game plan?
visit whatsyourgameplan.org to learn more about Drive Smart Virginia's initiative to keep our roads safe.
Back for our final segment here on the Alvin Parker Coaches Show. We once again want to thank the guys for joining us here in our Players Lounge segment, our last segment. Now we're going to focus on the bye week. It comes, I think, at a good time for Virginia Union as they get ready for conference play a week from Saturday against Johnson C. Smith. Jada in that last segment said, look, if you guys are going, to scout. He want to be in the car with y'all to make that trip to Charlotte to see Smith play in person.
Yeah, we using this just as a week to kind of, again, like I think more so focus on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we played two games, so you know this ball club wanted to make sure they established, you know, what type of team they were, and I think, you know, through 2 weeks we kind of see what type of team we are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you know we focused this week on just kind of making sure we were our best selves, and those guys did that. You know, now we're taking to the weekend where, you know, we're used to getting ready for a game and used to, you know, kind of having somebody to prepare for. You know, but again, we just focused on making sure we were good, and you know, now we'll take it in, like I said, into the weekend. The guys get a little rest and all of that, but you know, from a staff standpoint, we're going to still be to the ground working, making sure we got these guys ready to play next weekend.
Well, you lead me to my next question. I think a lot of Union fans are kind of like waiting to say, why didn't you ask about RJ? So let's ask about the health of RJ Rosales, the quarterback we mentioned in the first segment, got knocked out of the game in the fourth quarter down at Hampton. How is he feeling? And if you had a game on Saturday, would he have been able to play?
Thank goodness we don't have a game on Saturday, so we don't have to make a decision on it. You know, but he's healing up. You know, like I say, you know, if you ask me, I'm gonna be like, I don't know. But if you ask him, he's gonna tell you, yeah, he's ready to go. You know, but when I speak to our depth and speak to, you know, the guys that we got that are ready to play at every position, quarterback is one of those. You know, so if anything, you know, was preventing him from playing, I think, you know, Mark Wright will be ready. You know, we got a lot of guys that are ready to play up front, a lot of guys that are ready to play in the backfield, but sometimes people just don't get a chance to see enough of them because some of those guys that are listed as ones for us, you know, kind of take it all up, you know, so it's one of those type of things. So, you know, I'm glad I don't have to make that decision on this weekend, Sean.
But I was going to say, but more than likely he probably will.
Yeah, we feel like he'll be ready.
Yeah.
You know, we feel like he'll be ready.
You mentioned about having an idea of what type of team you have after 2 games. What type of team do you have right now?
I think, you know, we got a bunch of guys that love football. You know, when you look around the locker room and you kind of, you know, of course we can single some guys out that might get some of the different honors and things like that. But, you know, as a whole, we got a team that loves football. You know, that's one thing I can say, you know, these guys do it. You know, in terms of just, you know, they almost hate, you know, losing more than they like winning. You know, so I think that's, you know, something that they kind of established. So kind of taking one on the chin this past weekend was something that you've seen these guys, you know, ready to get back in the lab. You know, just kind of ready to get back in the lab. So I think this team has just shown a little bit of resilience from having an early on loss. And from a style standpoint, you know, it's kind of tough to say, you know, because we've been in 2 different type of games.
Right.
You know, so from a style standpoint, you know, I think these guys are able to adapt and kind of fit in and make any style of the game theirs.
You mentioned in regards to the style of play. Obviously, Byers is going to see, 7, 8, maybe 9 guys in the box on a given Saturday. So how do you kind of like balance wanting him to be effective, wanting him to get the opportunities, but then to say to RJ or Mark at quarterback, hey, you know, there might be opportunity, you know, maybe to pick your spots, you know, check out the defense, you know, make some plays yourself, as to always, you know, thinking that Jada is going to lead us to victory.
I mean, it's all in the offense. You know, we kind of, you know, it's kind of like I tell the people, it's kind of like the McDonald's menu, so to speak. I'm gonna just use that as an example. You know,
got us hungry in here now, Coach.
You know, if you go in there wanting a hamburger, you'll get a hamburger. If you go in there wanting a fish fillet, you'll get that. Go in there want some nuggets, you'll get that. You know, it's just a variety of things that I feel like we're good at. You know, so I think everybody's kind of ready to play. You know, on any given Saturday that we could take advantage of. You know what defenses are giving us.
I asked the players about will they watch Saturday's game because Smith has Lincoln in Charlotte this weekend at 1:00. You can watch that on the CIAA network. Will you watch any of that at all, or did you kind of like, let me take an opportunity, kind of take a step back on Saturday, you know, be a husband, be a father, be a fan of college football? Or do you say, hey, you know, yeah, I'm going to watch a little bit of this game on Saturday?
I might tell you one thing right now, Sean, but I haven't took a Saturday off in the fall since COVID. You know, so that's so for me to say I'm going to be off, probably going to be a little tough.
No such thing.
You know, but you know, I don't think it's going to be a honey-do list or anything like that waiting around for me. But
I was going to say the notebook is going to be.
But More than likely, I'll be working. I'll be
Okay.
finding something to do to make us, a better team or to make us prepared, But it's also some time you can get to spend with the family and kind of catch up on some things like that as well. But, it'll be hard pressed to say my eyes won't be on some type of football that's gonna help us get better.
How good is Johnson C. Smith? We mentioned week 1. They got the big nationally televised win against Tuskegee. How good is this Johnson C. Smith team?
Very good. I think they're a very good ball club. Coach Flowers, his staff, a lot of those guys down there know how to win. Those guys have put together a great team. Following a great season last year, those guys come back and already started this thing off great. Representing the CIAA against some of those out of conference opponents they've won. Again, we know what type of team they could bring to the table. So we expect nothing but a great ball game when we go down there. So I'm glad we got these extra days, this extra time to prepare. Johnson Smith is a great ball club.
You mentioned I believe they finished second behind Fayetteville last year, right? In the CIAA, well, when they were in divisions, the CIAA South, and to start off undefeated, they're kind of showing that maybe that was not a fluke last year. This is a legit Golden Bulls football team.
Oh yeah, they put up some extremely good numbers defensively. Last year, and they've started back off the same way. So we know our team hasn't played them in a few years, so we don't necessarily know the dynamics of everything like that. But in terms of just the way they've played and what they put on film, they got an excellent ball club.
How important is it for the guys this week for the mental aspect of the game? You maybe want them to rest a little bit, get off their feet, not do too much, but stay mentally sharp this bye week before you start the long grind of a CIAA play.
I think the coaches have done an excellent job in controlling that. Just kind of balancing it out. We've been able to kind of slowly put things on these guys' plates and kind of do that type of thing in terms of game planning. It's the first time I believe in my career where I've had kind of the bye week format where you can kind of use this time to prepare for one opponent. So that's been something that's been good. And then again, just making sure these guys are at their best in the health department and in the mental department. So that's been something that's been good for us this week going into the weekend.
Well, Coach, enjoy the bye week. Whatever you do, whether it's going to be work or not, enjoy it. And we will talk to you again next week as we focus a lot about Johnson C. Smith.
I look forward to it.
All right, that's the doc. The doc is now going to exit his office and get ready to do whatever this week. Don't forget, join us next Thursday night, 7 o'clock on the many different platforms of Virginia Union Athletics as we talk about Johnson C. Smith. Conference play begins. The road to Salem starts next week for Virginia Union. Thanks to the players again for joining us in the Players Lounge. Thanks to Coach Parker. I'm Sean Robertson. Thank you for joining us, and we'll talk to you next week on the Alvin Parker Coaches Show.